Morning, chili dogs. What you focus on? Gross. Don't forget to feed them horses. We're gonna be making another jar. I feel like I've been really liking jars. I made this trophy and I think it's gorgeous. I actually really like the way it looks. I think it's kind of pretty. I think it really has some good energy. So we're gonna keep on going. Something that I was thinking about last time when I was making it is I wasn't so much about the twist on the base form. I kind of like doing the tree as a platform. I think that changes totally how I'm looking at the vessel, right? And so I told myself, well, let's just try to keep that base smooth and try to just make a normal form, and then we can add a bunch of random things to it afterwards and not really trying to get too bumbled up in that middle section. So we're gonna get over there in a second, so I'll see you guys over there. Peace. I'm gonna show you guys how I kind of wedge. So we're just gonna wedge this clay up, just make sure it's all nice and nice here. Round that around. Give that a little thingy thing. So we're just gonna start. We're not gonna worry too much about how it's looking here right now. We really just wanna focus on getting a nice form thrown. So if yesterday's jar we weren't really about the way that top looked, okay, well in today's jar we're really gonna focus a little bit more on that. Try to make it a little bit nicer, you know what I mean? Camera A. Zoom. All right. Camera B, camera A, zoom. Right there, dudes. That is prim and proper, prim and proper. And so why is that working? Zoom. So if you zoom in here, when I was focusing, I was trying to see, I set this bar right in this middle and I just tilt it just so I can zone it in. Sometimes if you zone it in to here, your point of focus might be a little bit in the front or a little bit behind where the middle point is. So I just try to focus on getting this very middle thing in focus. You know, actually if I was being smart, I would set it in front of it a little bit. Like probably right about there. But maybe it's good if it's in the middle because my hands are over on this side. So we'll leave it like that actually. Close in. People always say they try to be like analyze how to get it to work, and it just makes it feel more difficult to understand. Tap centering, just do it. You know, if you really want to figure it out, you'll figure it out. I think that's with most things, you know. How I first learned is my teacher looked at me, gave me an empty can. He's like, all right, go ahead and learn it, you know? And I, just from looking at it and just practicing and just trying to just tap it whatever way. I've seen people hit it this way. I've seen people like hit it kind of more of like the side from under. I've seen people hit it like this, like an angle. All sorts of different ways, but you'll figure out your own way that works with the mechanisms of your body, right? And just do it that way, you know? Also, I gotta make sure I'm doing this right. We gotta grab our little, this thing here. We gotta make sure we set that. Oh yeah. If I start with it wet, as I'm ripping it apart, it's creating its own little slurry, right? And then it keeps those little gaps and those openings open for clay to hopefully mash into there. So it's kind of like you do less, you actually like make less of a mess, but it does the same thing, right? And I think that it may even be better. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I hope that you kind of get the idea. Like if I was smart again, I'll do the opposite here, right? So do you see how I'm scratching this first without wetting it? And then you'll see me wet it after with slip, and I'll show you why one side just kind of almost looks better to me. Just smooth that out. All right, guys. So what do we think? It doesn't look too great. Like if I'm looking at this bottom part, I'm not really liking how this area here looks. Like I don't think that looks too nice. There's something about there's too much lines below the skirt that I think disturb it a little bit. and there's too much difference between the skirt and the base, where I think yesterday's was a little bit more of a blend. I think I got to be more cognizant of this taper that's happening from the top vessel, so it can make that feel more intentional on the bottom, right? And so I hope you guys can see some of those complaints I have with the vessel here, but yeah, anyway. I'm just slowly trying to bring this curve down. And a tip too that I've kind of discovered, right, for lazy people's tip is I don't go all the way down when I trim. And I try to match the starting point with this line that I'm trimming, right? And why does that help is instead of going all the way down and then you'd have to either suction it or go past or take these off, right? And then just try to manually do it or whatever. I just meet it, right? And I try to blend that into there. It's never going to be perfect, but why does it really matter too much, you know? I think it's kind of a cool little Easter egg for a viewer if they can see that stuff. Damn. We're giving him a haircut, guys. Is that cool? I think it is. I think it is cool. Man, a triple handle trophy, that's fucking great. Fuck. Just look at some of these elements here, you know? I'm really a big fan of the top. You know, it's a horse, and I cut off some of the mane so I could give it a smaller mane, right? Also, I use those two things, I pulled them, almost like making little handles for like the arms. And then the mane's coming down, so it almost has this rearing up pose, right? And that has a little cover on that lid that's sticking up, right? Really elevating it past that becomes the pinnacle, right? That point right on the top. And I have these really interesting handles. Like if I look here in this area, you know, each one of these handles is a little bit different. I wasn't gonna do two, but there was something about this last handle that I just needed to get on the vessel. I'm so glad I did three. It's a little bit uncanny. It feels imbalanced. but it also looks kind of nice, right? I like the form. I feel like I could have gone a little bit wider and a little bit more narrow, really bump up that contrast. I think I need to do in the next ones here. And then this bottom, I mean, I don't know, I think it looks okay. You know, I'm not too excited about that. I think the middle is okay with the little tendrils, you know, that thing, but there's something about the connection point between those two and the ratio of this. It feels like it should have been a different bottom, but that's enough on that. Thank you so much for watching. All the best. Strawman Town.